he stay or will he go now? Did I have the beat right on that one, Niall?
I don't know. Well,
no.
I'm not sure that the Clash would be happy with it, but we'll give it a go.
Oh, well, we are talking, of course, about special government employee Elon Musk, who is only allowed to serve in his current role for 130 days per year.
That means that his time would be up in late May or early June. Politico magazine reported Wednesday, however, that Musk's time may already be running out. The outlet writes, President Donald Trump has told his inner circle, including members of his cabinet, that Elon Musk will be stepping back in the coming weeks from his current role as governing partner, ubiquitous cheerleader, and Washington hatchet man. President Trump himself likes Musk and is apparently pleased with his work. But Politico reports that others close to the president don't feel that way. But many close to Trump are increasingly relieved that Musk is expected to soon move on from his central role at Trump's side, and that the litany of DOGE surprises, which have ranged from a weekend email blast demanding federal workers list their work output to accidental cuts to Ebola prevention programs, might finally be coming to a close. That's to say nothing of their concerns about Musk as a political liability, who has served as a rallying point for fractured Democrats.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt pushed back on Politico's report. She was on News Nation this morning. Let's watch.
That's a question for Elon Musk himself. This is a non-story. The president and Elon have both said publicly that Elon will leave when the mission of DOGE is complete, when he feels his work is over. And the work he's been doing is incredible. He is saving the American taxpayers from bankruptcy. He is saving them billions of dollars in wasteful spending on useless priorities overseas. He has shown a light on the corruption, the waste, the fraud, and abuse that has plagued our federal bureaucracy for far too long. And the president, I can tell you, is very grateful for his efforts and for the risk that Elon Musk was willing to take. He's taken a lot of heat for this public service, and he's a special government employee. There's an expiration date on that, and he has said he will leave at that expiration date or when he feels the mission of DOGE is complete, if it's before that SGE expiration date.
The New York Post ran a similar story on Wednesday. It was titled, Here's Why Elon Musk May Leave His DOGE Position Sooner Than You Think. The Post sources told them, plan has always been to let Musk return to civilian life after his SGE status expires, and Trump himself recently alluded to the ex-boss's departure coming sooner rather than later.
While there are conflicting reports as to whether Musk is leaving soon, perhaps the bigger question is, should he leave soon? The results of a Marquette Law School survey don't look great for the tech titan. 41% in that poll approve of Musk's handling of DOGE work, while 58% disapprove. 38% view Musk himself favourably, while 60% view him unfavourably.
Or perhaps Musk himself might want to leave sooner than expected to attend to his businesses. Tesla's global sales, for instance, have dropped 13% in the first 3 months of 2025, which is the largest in the company's history. The car company's global sales also dropped 13% compared to last year's first quarter. Heck, even the mother of Musk's latest child is ditching her Tesla, probably for different reasons. Let's watch.
I'm selling it because I need to make up for the 60% cut that Elon made to our son's child support.
The Musk family drama.
Yeah, a lot of family drama with Elon, but a lot of political drama too.
I don't know. Elon is a very divisive, very disliked figure among Democrats. That much is clear. He is disliked more strongly than Trump, I think, even by strong partisans at this point, especially by strong partisans.
He's certainly more disliked by people in the middle ground as well, actually, but go ahead.
Yes, and he does not have crossover appeal the way that Trump is just a interesting figure, I guess, to spectate. Elon is interesting in a less enjoyable way for people who don't agree with him and don't love him. Obviously, there's millions of those as well. But I have never, so given that the media and Democrats tend to hate him that much, I'm always a little distrustful of these stories that are predicting some Trump-Musk falling out. I've seen no evidence of that from Trump himself or in the conversations I've had with people, not literally in the room with the individuals, but I have some contacts and some sources on the right. It seems to me like their fondness for each other is fairly genuine in a way that two highly idiosyncratic, successful in different ways, it's lonely at the top. They really value each other in some way. Now, that all that said, it's, politics is a business,
Yep.
and Elon has his business interests, and his time as a special government employee is going to expire anyway. So it may very well be the case that he steps back from politics, but I would still, he might step back from being a special government employee and being involved with DOGE. I actually have a hard time imagining him not continuing to be extremely involved in Republican politics for at least the duration of this Trump term.
Where we differ in emphasis, I think, is that it seems to me really very clear that Musk is a political liability for Trump. As you say, his numbers are worse than Trump in almost every respect. One of the interesting things to me is he's massively unpopular among women, and I've referenced this before, but I'm just looking through 3 separate polls.
Including the 13 of them he's had children.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's particularly deeply unpopular with them, but there's a Quinnipiac poll where he's like 40 points underwater in terms of favourability with women. Very bad numbers with independents. And then you look at things that he's actually done or said. So there was Social Security's a giant Ponzi scheme. There was the thing that happened with DOGE where people were fired working on nuclear safety or on avian flu and then rehired back again. There have been various incendiary comments about judges, judicial coups and all that. But I think what really put a fine point on this was the Wisconsin Supreme Court race, where he and his allies spent $21 million to no apparent effect at all. The Liberal candidate there won by a virtually identical margin.
Because money
to
in
the last time
politics
around.
isn't everything. You can't actually buy elections. I say it over and over again. It can't compensate for other candidate shortfalls.
It is the case that money does not guarantee victory, but whether that means that it is healthy to have one individual spending $20 million on a Supreme Court race in a particular state is a completely different question. And so Musk is a drag on Trump politically. I was always skeptical of they're going to have a huge falling out argument, for a different reason, which is that I think Trump cares very much and always has about how he is perceived, and Elon Musk, as the proprietor of X, has a lot of influence in that way.
That's it, yes.
And I think that Trump doesn't want to alienate him.
That part I agree with. And you're not wrong about your analysis of how Musk is being received, but I wonder how much, like, Musk is not on the ballot, like, Musk would not make for an appealing political candidate, right? For all the reasons you make him out to be. But as a hype man for the right, a promoter of Trump talking points throughout the social media mechanisms he commands, and as someone who is willing to spend millions and millions of dollars on Trump causes, I think he's still a huge net benefit, even if having him in the so maybe the best role is for him to take a step back from being front and center so much. Now that's a difficult thing to ask someone who is this powerful to do. If Musk wants the spotlight, he's entitled to the spotlight. He has the spotlight. He owns the spotlights. He owns the lights.
Yeah, but I don't agree that he is a net benefit. I think that may be where we differ, because I think that what gets confused with Elon Musk is the enthusiasm, which is genuine, of people who are fans of his, people who are very pro-Elon, versus how he plays with the general population, which seems to me overwhelmingly negative.
Yeah, he's also going through something in terms of his personal behavior. I mean, he tweets so much, there's just no way to describe it as anything other than unhealthy. It's in the middle of the night all the time.
It's often pretty erratic messaging, to be honest.
The things he says are a little out there. It has been reported by the mainstream media that there are concerns about his drug use, specifically his ketamine use, which I actually think explains a lot of this. Simultaneously, he is, like the most successful businessman of all time. It is not, I know some people on the left will say, oh, he just inherited all this wealth and that's why. It's what he did with Tesla and with SpaceX is truly historically unprecedented in terms of how successful those companies are, and people bet against him all the while, said this was impossible, there's no way to make this work, and he makes things work. So I'm always a little bit to just, like, he's not an idiot. Now, that doesn't mean he's right about everything he says, or that he's not also crazy, or sometimes very personally erratic people are very successable at other things. He clearly does not. He is the first to admit that he has some form of autism and does not quite get personal interactions in ways that it leaves people uncomfortable when they interact with him. That said, he he is so unparalleled success in this realm of tech, and now he is, I think, a part of the story for how Trump was successfully reelected with more support than he was the first time. Now that was before. He's verging on public notoriety. He's now a political figure, and you're right that he's unpopular. So maybe he doesn't have a long future in this project after all. But it's just hard at this point to imagine what it looks like without him, because he's become so, for better or worse, a presence in our lives as political commentators.
I assume he could just stay on the outside and pontificate about various things. I just, to make a long story short, don't think that his business prowess extends or translates into political acumen, because I don't see much sign of that.
Next up, there's a new viral Netflix series about the effects of the manosphere that has the internet buzzing. We will discuss that. It's really interesting. Stay tuned.